What up, though? And welcome back to I'm growNman. It's your man, John D, in the building. I wanted to get on here and talk about triggers, like things that can set you off, that can take you out of character. And I was thinking about, why do we have triggers? And I was just thinking, because if we could control them, because typically triggers get us in trouble. Then depending on what environment you're in, your triggers could get you in a lot of trouble. And I was just thinking, my triggers growing up, and typically it was just maybe whatever I thought was disrespect. And, as a kid that's coming from a mindset of poor, just thinking I want to be a basketball player so I can be rich, so I don't have to live like this. But you don't realize what it really takes to enjoy life. Nowhere, just thinking back in my childhood and how minuscule my thoughts were in comparison to now, and to mature into the person that I am today. And I can say that because I see the growth. And when you can really see the growth of who you've become and you feel like you need to share, it's just, this is my time in my life where I need to give as much information as possible, because I'm watching people get into altercations. We on the same team, but since we can't communicate effectively, people take certain things as disrespect. And I think it's due to poor communication. That's the number one thing. If you knew how to communicate, you wouldn't let your triggers affect you. Let's say we're having a conversation and I say something and you took it as a form of disrespect, but I didn't know I disrespect you. I didn't. I want you to know, in order for me to disrespect you, I have to do it on purpose. I can't lightweight disrespect you. You have to know that my intention is to disrespect you so that you know it. But if you don't say, hey, did you do that to disrespect me? Because nobody, whether you know this or not, nobody will just disrespect somebody just to do it. It was created from something prior where a boundary was crossed. But whatever, and this is what I'm saying before I lose anybody. In my neighborhood, if you do something to disrespect somebody, we all knew what it was. We know what it looked like. So our ways was different if you go into another neighborhood, because everybody didn't operate the same. I'll give you an example. A young lady in my school building cursed in front of the principal. And I was like, what's wrong with you? She was just like, that girl made me so mad. I was like, see, if you was scared of your parent, you wouldn't curse in front of no adult. And the young lady next to her understood what I said. And she was like, yeah, I can't do that. She was like, I didn't cuss at him. I just cussed. She was like, yeah, but the fear of a parent is just two different types of fears. And I know I'm getting off the subject, but I just want you to know, disrespect has to be on purpose. And a lot of times we don't ask, what did you mean by that? Was that for me? And if so, why was that for me? Our communication is poor. We're on the same team. And for some reason, the way that I love you, you won't accept it. And, you don't want to love me because you take me as being disrespectful. You're supposed to sit down. The mature person is supposed to say, hey, I made a mistake. Can we break bread? Because at the end of the day, I want to build. We have to use different language to create understanding. I'm watching people intentionally talk about people and we on the same team because he wasn't an effective communicator. That's the reason why we're at war now, is because we don't know how to communicate to each other. But if we look alike, we kind of somewhat know the struggle. We need to sit down, because when you sit down with each other, you can talk to each other and ask, hey, could you clarify that? And you can get a better understanding. That's the reason why I work on communication all the time, because I don't want anybody to ever take anything I say in a disrespectful way in any part of the galaxy. I want people to know that when I walk anywhere, it's peace. And if somebody says anything about me that has any type of negativity, I would like to understand why. What am I displaying? Because I don't even want to give that off. I'm in a place where I'm trying to help. And I feel like if we learn how to communicate effectively, we would reduce the triggers that put us in compromising situations that leads down to bad paths because of your window of tolerance is too small. I just learned recently, your window of tolerance is somebody gets close where you step out of character. If you just think and make a different decision just than the one that you're originally going to make, because a lot of times you're in default and you're probably snapping on somebody. But if you can just think, pause, you increase your window of tolerance that much more. And then you become more mature because you're going to realize if you have enough information, you're going to make the best decision. So just consider that. Work on your communication, your life changes, period. I see it. And I truly believe at some point when everybody takes the journey of just improving your communication, you'll see what I'm talking about. The second thing I want to talk about is controlling your emotions. Somebody says something that triggers you and makes you mad. Remember I said disrespect has to be on purpose. You have to control your emotions because you don't just snap on somebody because you feel like they disrespected you. The mature person in you that has not matured yet has to say, hey, you just said this. What did you mean by that? And they're going to tell you, and it's going to conflict with whatever you thought. And you're going to be like, oh, you were just about to go this way. But if you just pause and controlled your emotions, ask one extra question, ask two to just make sure. And then that just will alleviate so many unnecessary conflicts amongst people who are on the same team. A lot of relationships end because we don't ask enough questions. Like, if we're friends, if we're enemies, like, why are we enemies? You know what I'm saying? You didn't ask enough questions. Did somebody put you in this war? Like, you have to think about the same things. I learned about window of tolerance, this thing. The best relationship you can have with like any relationship has to start with yourself. If you don't put yourself first, your family don't even matter. And I know everybody say you got to put your family first. You got to do this. No, that's a distraction. Because I tell you this, and I'm not saying be selfish. I'm saying you have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to heal from things that you don't even know you're suffering from yet because your lineage in your life hasn't matured enough to understand that you have to love yourself first, period. I feel like where I am in life, I get the opportunities to grow and learn through other people's experiences. Being an educator, you get opportunities to just, listen to other people where they are in life. And, it's difficult to explain. The education culture is a funny thing. People share their stories with you. You develop these relationships. They bring in other professionals to give you better information so that you can become better in your craft. And depending on how you look at it, it could be really toxic, unfortunately. Like, if you don't think something can really make you better and you don't use it to apply, you can't get better. Like, everybody is trying to give something. And at the end of the day, this professional development that I just recently participated in was pretty dope. Like, I enjoyed the information that they were given, and I believe that as they move through helping different areas of exposing a different mindset, that teachers will become more well-rounded, and it will help to remove some of these triggers that you have. Like, for real, like, you got to learn to control your emotions because your triggers was created from your environment, your parents, and if you don't learn to control them, they'll get you in trouble. So next time somebody triggers you and you try to recognize it. It's a process to it. Try to recognize it. Like I used to be triggered by a lot of things, but when you know you got a trigger, that means you already started the step. Then you got to okay, when it happens again, I'm gonna just hope I'm gonna ball my fist up because it's gonna remind me that, or no, not ball, because you might want to fight. So I'm gonna cross my fingers and I'm apply pressure on it. Okay, this is a trigger. Why is this triggering me? Pause, wait, ask a question. Because sometimes if you get triggered, you're not listening, right? So if you know that, you're starting the process instead of reacting. Because most people who react, they just think that's the way that you're supposed to react. And that most of the time gets you in trouble. The last thing I want to talk about with triggers is where did they come from? Like I said earlier, your parents, your environment. We have to find ways to unlayer the things that have put us in a situation of defending ourselves. There are certain things that we put on our back that was never ours. And until you unlayer those things, all of this is going to be really difficult. But I will say therapy, journaling, talking to somebody that you can be vulnerable with. And I know that's probably going to be the most difficult part outside of therapy, but it's the cheapest way. No, the cheapest way is just journaling, challenging all of your beliefs. Those of you that are heavily involved in a religion, I will say you have to challenge your own religion to actually believe in it, or else somebody just told you to believe in it. And you will learn so much more from your religion if you did that. And I do know a lot of people who didn't challenge their religion. And I don't believe in religion. So I will say that because I believe it separates us. I do believe in the word and the religion, in all of them, because they're there to help people. Not going to say everything is correct in this day and time, but I do believe it's to help people, and everything has its place and we can all become better people. But I do believe religion separates us. And we can learn from each other in so many different ways where we could evolve as a human. We could be cold out here if we knew how to communicate. I'm gonna work on this forever, but we have to unlayer where our triggers came from. If you don't do that, life is difficult. Most of the time you're gonna be mad too. I was real mad. I was just thinking of my childhood. I remember people say, "John, you mad. You always mad." I ain't mad. I didn't understand it. I didn't. But they didn't know how to explain it either. How you gonna tell me I'm mad and not explain it? I'm poor. You know what I'm saying? We had only a few words to describe all of our emotions. Man, there's so many different emotions that we just have not been practicing because we're not familiar with it. So how can you control your emotions if you don't have a name for it, a method to make it stop or keep it going? So it's we have to want more. And I'm telling you, these triggers, they slowly disappear. And then you just become this person dang, all I had to do was communicate better, control my emotions, and unlayer where it came from. In whatever order you want to do it in. How about that? And I promise your triggers will leave. And over the course of time, when you remove them, you're going to look back at a period and you're going to be oh man, you're going to grow so what's the dopest part about the experience of getting better is that it's free. It's free, but people will find a way to charge for it. And that's why I wanted to do this. I was why you want to charge somebody to get better? If you got the money, the resources, you can make things move probably a little faster. But at the end of the day, you got to put in the work, and money can't buy the work. You got to complete the task. And just watch. You're going to see people from different classes of life learn that it's the process that we never learned how to enjoy the human part of life. They made us chase all of these other distractions. It was cold. But at some point, people in different classes will rise and create, oh, it's just a process. You have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you just average like everybody else. And you'll be able to see it, because it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much are you enjoying today. At least that's my opinion. Like, I think that I've gotten to the point where I enjoy my day that much where I have to talk to you guys about it, because it's free and I don't even want anything for it. Like, at some point, you guys are going to see, like, you were cheated out of knowing how much effort it actually takes to enjoy life. Before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Lionheart Experience. That was got a lot of references today from this podcast from them. Wanted to give them a shout out. They're just trying to expose educators on ways to increase their expertise in teaching. It's difficult to teach kids and you don't know anything about what the inside their house looks like. It does make a complete difference by practicing the things I discussed earlier to be able to empathize with kids that you can't imagine unless you create a relationship. And you know how you do that? Effective communication. I'll say this, they're probably going to do really well. I believe at some point, they're going to be like a requirement for educators to participate in this professional development, because I believe that every educator can use what they're trying to give. I truly believe that. It's a great story. Shout out to them. And as they continue to move, find me if you get a chance so I can give you some feedback. My wife told me that I was the feedback king, because I'm always trying to find ways to improve something, right? And I think at some point, that's probably what I'm going to get hired for, because I think I can give feedback to improve your performance. I really do believe that I understand now. I don't have all of the experience of actually giving feedback, but I understand communication. If you want to get people to receive a message, I know ways to improve it. That's what I'm going to be good at some point, where I'll be able to tell people how much I want. I remember I was like, what was I going to be able to do? Because I'm going to work on communication for the rest of my life. So at some point, I'm going to be cold. And that's what I wanted to be an example for. That's the reason why these videos are here, because you guys are going to see me mature into this person that continuously worked on communication by being a better father and a better husband. But shout out to the Lionheart Experience, and shout out to you guys and everybody he's touched. I just hope that the educators receive that message the way that I did. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you cannot control. GATA, get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.